Welcome. I'm going to wait for a few more people to join. Today I'm talking, hello. Today I'm talking about getting over or conquering the fear of speaking in another language. In this case, I'm going to be talking about getting over the fear of speaking English. So if you are afraid of speaking English, I hope this live will help you. I am going to get started. Hi everyone. Okay, so to get started today with the live, again today I am talking about overcoming, I have a crush on you. Hi. From Colombia. Hello, hola. Welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about overcoming the fear of speaking in English. So in order to do that, I want to talk a little bit about my own experience. So, hi from Nashville. Hi. I know a lot. I was actually born pretty close to Nashville. So, hearts, thank you. So I'm going to start by talking a little bit about my own experience in overcoming the fear of speaking. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about me and my experience, which is not the same experience you have, I know, but I hope it will help, and give you some tips for how to get started speaking English with other people and to overcome that fear of just saying something even if you know you're going to be making a mistake. Hi from Virginia. Hello. Jeffrey, thank you. So this is my story. Okay. So I have always been a really, really shy person. I was so shy when I was a kid that people would ask me questions and I would not answer. Literally, I would just close my mouth and not answer direct questions. So that's where I'm coming from of shyness. And as I grew up, I developed a love of languages. Okay? So I traveled a lot. I tried to learn words from different places. Wherever I traveled, I went to Slovakia and I tried to learn some Slovak words, and I lived in China for a little while and I tried to study Chinese. And in high school, I got really, really passionate about French. And so I decided I'm going to go to college and I am going to study French. And so I started studying French and I was very good at it. But one day, it turned out that I needed to speak French because that's what you do. You start speaking a language, right? So I had to go to a conversational French class in college, and I got so nervous about taking a conversational class that I canceled, and I dropped out. I canceled the class and I stopped studying French. So I was just so terrified to speak another language. Are any of you very terrified to speak English? I love reading the comments. Feel free to drop a comment whenever you want. At the end, I'll answer whatever questions you have. And I will try to keep an eye on these. You have a great personality. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, so what happened was As an adult, I started learning Spanish because I still really love languages. So I'm talking about a few years ago. A few years ago, I started learning Spanish. Still very passionate about languages, but terrified to speak. And so one day I realized, you know what? If I want to speak Spanish fluently, I need to speak Spanish. So I forced myself, I found a great conversation partner who was also a person from Costa Rica who is also very scared to speak English. And I was so scared to speak Spanish, we made a great team. So the two of us, both of us being terrified to speak the other language, were able to start practicing with each other. So that is my experience. Now I speak Spanish pretty well. I still have a lot of learning to do, but I speak it pretty well. And so I'm hoping my experience and what I know as I am a trained English language teacher. I hope between what I have learned in my teaching program and what I have experienced as an extremely shy person, I can help you. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we start losing that fear of speaking English? I'm taking a look at the comments. My daughter did 4 years of high school Spanish and she's fluent now. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm learning to speak English. Awesome. Great. Where do you find a person to speak English with? So we can talk about that for sure. So one tip is, the question is, where do you find a person to speak English with? And the answer to that question will be much different depending on your experience. Or where you are. If you're in the United States, it might be slightly easier to find someone to speak with. But number one, my recommendation is, as you are, thank you for the rose, as you are trying to find someone to speak English with, I recommend that you really try to find someone you are comfortable with. Okay, so someone that does not intimidate you. So if you are in an English-speaking country, you can find people by, for example, joining groups. You can think about, what are my interests? And you can start exploring groups within different interests you have besides English. If you are basically anywhere, the one app, there's actually quite a few apps where you can find language partners that are free. So you can use those. Personally, the app that I like, that I have had success with, is an app called Hello Talk, HELLOTALK. And I have no affiliation with them, but it's just the app that I have used, and I found several language partners through that app that I still talk to, who I have been talking to for several years now. So what these apps do, apps like Hello Talk, is for free, they will connect you with someone who wants to learn your native language, who already speaks English. So my language partners from Hello Talk that I found online, they are fluent Spanish speakers and they want to learn English. So we have an exchange. So there's no money involved because I'm getting something, I'm benefiting from the situation, and so are they. Okay, so I hope that helps. It really depends on where you are for finding that. So some other tips I have from my experience of getting over this fear of learning another language, one of them is to Sorry, once I've got all of my notes written down. I want to make sure I say everything. So my biggest tip for overcoming the fear of speaking English is to know why you want to learn English. And it sounds kind of silly, but really, if you have a clear idea in your mind of why you are trying to learn English, I want a better job. I want to travel the world without having problems. I want to go to school in the US or in England or in Australia. If you know those things, that will help you, because then you will have perspective. So essentially, your dreams must be bigger than your fear, right? Your dreams must be bigger than your fear. So for me, I found out I reached a point in my Spanish language learning where I thought, you know what? I really, really want to speak another language. I've always wanted this. So but the only way I'm going to reach that dream is if I start speaking. So I really pushed myself. I forced myself to speak more and more and more, because I had a perspective of what my dream was. I'm an IT developer and I need good English. Yes. So if you know, I want to be an IT professional, you have that in your mind. You will think, you can tell yourself, do I really want this? Is my fear worth it? Is it worth it to be afraid? So that's one of the biggest tips that I have. Very professional, informative, and comprehensive. You're a great public speaker. Thank you, Cody. As I've been talking about, I was a super, super shy person. I still am shy, but I'm getting over it. And so that's part of the reason why I want to be here. So thank you very much. And why I have these tips. Hello. So yeah, that's my biggest one. Your dreams have to be bigger than your fear. So that's my biggest tip. Let's see, I already gave this tip, but I'll give it one more time. Find a language partner that does not intimidate you. It is actually it is well researched. So I am a trained ESL teacher, okay? I went to a great program. It is well researched, and all of my teachers told me several times, your students need to be comfortable. If they're not comfortable, they will not learn. So if you find a conversation partner and you think, this person just makes me feel uncomfortable, they make me feel stupid, get rid of them. Try someone else. You're not going to learn that well. Okay? Another tip is just to practice. I know that's kind of obvious, but as I was recovering from being a super shy person, I started teaching, and I started teaching in a high school classroom. So I was a really shy person. I didn't like to public speak, and I kind of got put into this high school. I was a high school literature teacher for 6 years here in the US at a private school. So I was placed in front of these teenagers. Thank you for another rose. I was placed in front of these teenagers, and they were 16, 17. I taught 15 to 18-year-olds. They're not very nice. I mean, they are. Teenagers can be really nice. I loved being a high school teacher. But what I discovered was I just had to keep doing it. So my next tip is just to practice, practice, practice. And honestly, after 6 years of teaching high school, I mean, it was almost every morning. I got up, I stood in front of 20 17-year-olds, and I was like, I am terrified right now. I am terrified to be in front of these people. But then I started doing it and it went away. So the same thing goes with speaking another language. If you keep practicing, you find those great conversation partners you can talk to, and you keep doing it, that fear will start to go away. And even if you experience it, after a few minutes, it will go away. You know, you'll get into it. So I'm reading some of the comments. Thank you. God bless you and your family. Thank you, Richard. All right, everyone. So I'm gonna finish giving my tips for getting over the fear of speaking in English and really another language in general. And then I will open it up for more questions. Okay? The next one, my next tip for getting over speaking another language, that fear, is I've kind of already said this, but find supportive environments and communities. So again, I said this once before, but find those communities and places to learn where you feel supported and encouraged, because you will not learn unless you have supportive people around you. Unfortunately, you have a bunch of trolls in here, but I appreciate hearing your story. Thank you. That always happens. Gonzo. It doesn't bother me. I can't understand everything you say, but I'm very good. I'm training my listening. Yes. Good. Keep listening. Keep listening to English. That will help you so much. Train your ears. The more you do it, the more it will get easier. Okay? Just checking some of this. I'm muting some of my trolls, Gonzo. Oh my gosh. So, I have some more tips as I go through here. And go through the comments. I love seeing comments. Thank you, guys. Okay, so another tip for getting over the fear of speaking is if you just can't speak English to someone else, you just can't, make yourself do it, you can start by talking to yourself. Honestly, it sounds weird, but I used to talk to myself all the time. I used to talk to myself, it sounds crazy, but I used to speak to myself in Spanish when I was learning Spanish and trying to overcome my fear of speaking Spanish. So you can speak to yourself in the house, doing chores, in the mirror. Javier asks, is English your mother tongue? Yes, it is. Yes. Yes, no, it does not bother me, Hanso. Thanks. Yeah, so yes, English is my native language. How long did it take you to learn Spanish, and how old were you when you learned it? I started learning Spanish 3 years ago. It was not very long ago. And now I am pretty good at speaking Spanish. I can read anything. I read Cien Años de Soledad. I can read anything and understand it. My speaking, I need to keep working on it. So I have my language partners and I'm working on increasing my fluency. That's where my weakness is. I'm really good at writing in Spanish. I'm really good at listening and reading, but not as good at speaking. So I'm working on that. Do I speak Portuguese? No, but that is the next language on my list. That's the next language on my list, Portuguese. I have that on my list. So I'm really excited. I love Portuguese. I love to listen to it. All right, I have one more tip, and it's another big one for overcoming the fear of speaking English. And that is to understand where the fear comes from or why you feel it. So it's maybe we're getting a little self-help right here, but you have to understand why it is that you feel so afraid to speak English. And this is what it is, because I will just tell you. Speaking another language, this is what I always say, speaking another language is an act of vulnerability, okay? Almost everyone is scared of speaking in another language that is not their native language. This experience is extremely normal. And so you need to understand that it is really normal and that there's a reason for that. It's because when you speak a language that is not your language, it's a very vulnerable thing. You don't have control, right? Because we're talking to someone in a different language. We don't understand how we sound. We don't understand how many errors we're making. We hope we're speaking perfectly, but we probably are not. We know that. And so we don't have control over how we are being perceived or seen by the other person. So I am told sometimes that I say things that are ridiculous in Spanish. And because I have a great language partner, that person can tell me that was ridiculous and I'm laughing, right? But if I'm just talking to anybody, I don't know if I say something that badly. So that's part of it. The other part of it is that because of that lack of control as well, we are asking patience from someone else. So that person I'm talking to in Spanish, for example, because that's my second language, I'm speaking in Spanish and I am slower than that person. Thank you for the gift. I'm slower than that person and I don't understand everything. Maybe I need to ask help. So I am asking that person to help me and to be patient with me. And so some of us don't like that feeling. Some of us don't like to feel like we are inconveniencing or making things difficult for someone else. So when we are speaking in another language, it can feel like that. So again, really, really normal to be scared of speaking in English. And that's because it is scary. But I hope these tips will help you. So if you have any questions, that's the end of my list of notes. So I am here to answer any questions you have within reason. I'll try to answer any English questions. I will also answer any questions about the topic for today's live, which is overcoming fear. So yeah, I'll stay for a few minutes, and if anyone has any questions, let me know. Hi, Abdul. Okay, any questions from anyone? It can be English questions. It can be questions about speaking, about language partners, I would like to do a live sometime, or a YouTube video possibly, with one of my language partners to talk about how to find one, how to take advantage of a language partner. But I can answer any questions I can. So, any questions? I'll stay a couple more minutes in case someone thinks of something. Any questions about English? When did you start seeking out a language partner in your Spanish speaking journey? Oh, hi Emily. And what does a meeting with them look like? That's a fantastic question. So I started seeking a language partner really early in my Spanish journey because I knew I was really scared to speak. And that was going to be a problem. So I think probably about 6 months after I started, I found someone who was also really scared of speaking in English. So it worked really well. And the other question is, what does a meeting with them look like? So it depends with a couple of my I have some people who are near me. We'll just go to a coffee shop and we'll talk about our days, just hang out like friends, and I may answer some questions that that my partners had during the week about English, and she would answer some questions that I had. With my virtual language partners, it's generally a conversation. It kind of varies. So sometimes it starts out with, oh, how was your day and how was your week? Just chatting. But then we might practice some sentences. So we might say, let's practice saying I should have, done something. So I might say, oh, I should have eaten more this morning. Just to repeat that. Oh, I should have, they'll say in English, I should have done this. And I would say, oh, debí haber, hecho esto. And so back and forth like that. So it really varies a lot. Thanks for the question. Hello, where are you from? I'm from the U.S. Thank you for the likes. I'm from the U.S. I live in North Carolina. So, any other questions from anyone before I leave? I'm going to leave soon. And if you missed some of this live, then I am going to put it on YouTube for later. You were awesome. How was your day? My day has been great. Look at the weather. It's amazing here. It feels like fall. There's leaves everywhere. It's amazing. That's why I wanted to be outside for this. When will be our next meeting, the next live? I'm not sure. I will let you know. But okay, guys, I guess that's it. Please follow me if you are not already. And fan from Nepal, thank you. You too, have a wonderful day. Follow me if you have not already, and I will put this on YouTube later. Okay? Bye, everyone.